So, picture a mild April evening in 2009. You're on the shores of Nyskie Lake, which is this really remote stretch of land between the Polish villages of Gubino and Łucice.
Right, it's just this quiet, isolated spot.
Exactly. And there's a group of 6 adults gathered around a campfire, just celebrating a friend's name day, having some beers,
Yeah. And there are three couples here, but they all actually have one specific thing in common. They all work for the same security agency in Rokow.
which is just a bitter irony, honestly. I mean, this is a group of professionals trained to protect others.
Right, they literally observe and secure for a living.
Yeah. Yet they're about to find themselves at the center of a mystery where they couldn't even protect one of their own.
It's wild. So among them is Wanda Szeptun. She's a 40-year-old wife and a mother of two.
And it gets to be around 10:30 p.m.
Mm.
Rhonda stands up and tells the group she needs to, answer the call of nature.
Just a totally normal thing to do at a campfire.
Right. But she takes nothing with her except her mobile phone. No bag, no flashlight. She just walks away from the fire and steps into the dense line of trees.
And at that time of night, out there,
Mm.
that forest is just a black, impenetrable wall.
It really is, and that is the moment. The exact moment Wanda Szeptun simply vanishes into thin air.
Just gone. I mean, 10 minutes pass, then an hour.
Her friends and her husband start to call out her name, but they are met with, well, absolutely nothing. Just the sound of the wind and total silence.
Yeah, and nearby fishermen would later swear they heard no screams, no sounds of a struggle, no cries for help.
Nothing at all. When a police tracking dog finally arrives hours later, it picks up her scent, but then it just stops abruptly, like just a few meters from the campsite.
It was almost as if she had stepped into a waiting car, or, been swallowed by the lake itself.
But the questions only get darker from there, because why were none of Wanda's personal belongings found at the fight?
Right, like no extra clothes, no bag, even though they planned to stay overnight.
Exactly. And why was her phone turned off almost immediately after she walked away?
That's the part that really gets me.
And the most chilling detail of all, I think, is why did every single person at that campfire, including Wanda's husband, move to Germany shortly after?
Yeah, and they continue to maintain this pact of silence to this day. It's just mind-boggling.
It really is. So today, for this deep dive, we are getting into the theories. Was it a tragic accident hidden by the murky depths of the lake?
Or is the truth somehow buried in the testimonies of the people who sat by that fire?
Right. We're pulling from a really deep stack of sources today. Investigative articles from Fact.net, reports from TVP's Tytułowiec Wicja, a whole forensic case study, and a few true crime documentaries.
And we are doing this alongside Wanda's daughters, Patricia and Claudia,
Yeah.
who have basically spent 15 years searching for their mom.
They just refuse to give up. So,
There.
welcome to the deep dive. This is the last campfire of Wanda Szeptun.
And to really understand how someone can just evaporate like this, you first have to understand exactly what they walked into.
The environment, right?
Exactly. The forensic reality of the terrain is huge here. The topography of that Gubino and Łucice area back in 2009 was incredibly wild.
Like completely undeveloped.
Right. You had these flat, sandy beaches that just abruptly hit a wall of mixed forest. We're talking treacherous, muddy grounds, really thick reeds, and absolutely zero ambient light.
Because you're miles from any street lamps.
Yeah. Once you stepped past the glow of that fire, navigation was virtually impossible. You couldn't see your own hand in front of your face.
So let's talk about what she was wearing into that environment, because based on the police report, there is a glaring contradiction.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, so she's wearing suede boots, gray capri pants, a yellow blouse, a cream turtleneck, and a brown vest.
Which is, perfectly fine for sitting around a fire having a beer.
Sure, it's standard casual campfire attire, but it is absolutely terrible for a long trek through a dark, muddy forest.
Oh, it's the worst possible gear.
Right. If you're planning to leave your life behind and trek through a wilderness at night, you don't wear suede boots, you wear hiking gear.
And you definitely take a flashlight, not just a cell phone that you turn off 2 minutes later.
Exactly. So why take the phone but no flashlight? It just doesn't point to a planned escape.
It really doesn't. And that leads us to the behavior of the group. Because they created this critical, unobserved window of opportunity.
Because everyone had been drinking.
Right. They were relaxed, off the clock. No one watched where Wanda actually went.
Which is so tragic considering they were security guards.
I know. But that lack of observation meant there was a window where anything could happen. An accident, an abduction, or an escape. and nobody saw it.
And because no one was watching, the initial search became this frantic race against time, a race that frankly got off to a disastrously slow start.
Yeah, the timeline here is just agonizing.
It is. She walks away at 10:30 p.m. The group supposedly searches for about 2 hours on their own before they finally call the police at 1:30 a.m.
Which is a huge delay in a missing persons case.
But get this. The police don't actually arrive until 3:00 a.m.
Right, because the callers were so intoxicated, they couldn't even accurately describe their remote location.
The cops were basically driving around in the dark trying to find them.
But when the officers finally do arrive, they find a really bizarre scene.
The sleeping thing.
Yeah.
This is wild.
It is. Despite a friend being missing for hours in a freezing forest, some of the adults were just resting.
How do you even do that?
I don't know, but it gets weirder. 2 children, aged 12 and 17, belonging to one of the other couples, were fast asleep in a tent and in the cars.
I mean, I have to stop you there because that makes no sense to me. Your friend wanders into the pitch black woods and you just let your kids sleep in the car while you supposedly search?
Psychologically, it might be normalcy bias or the alcohol overriding their system, but to the police, it looked incredibly suspicious.
It paints a very weird picture of their level of concern, but the physical clues are even more baffling. Let's talk about the tracking dog.
Yeah, this is the most critical forensic anomaly.
So the police bring in a dog, and it picks up Wanda's scent. It follows it for a short distance, circles in one spot, and then the trail just vanishes completely.
A literal dead end in the dirt.
How does that even happen?
Well, forensically, there are really only 2 interpretations for a dead scent trail like that.
Okay, what are they?
The first is that she was picked up by a vehicle right at that spot. Her feet leave the ground, the scent stops.
Got it.
The second is that she experienced a sudden change of surface environment, specifically entering water. Moving water just scatters the scent instantly.
Okay, but if she got in a car or went in the lake, what about the missing belongings?
Right, the lack of personal items at the camp.
Because no bag, no extra clothes, no cosmetics were found.
Yeah.
If she didn't bring them, maybe she planned to leave early.
Or someone removed them to stage a disappearance. If there was foul play, getting rid of her bag makes it look like she ran away.
Which totally derails the investigation. It's like walking into a theater where someone stole all the props. You have no idea what the play was supposed to be.
Exactly. With the physical evidence basically leading to a dead end, investigators and the local community had to start relying on theories.
And the increasingly weird behavior of the survivors. So let's break down the 4 main hypotheses using the forensic case study.
Let's do it. Theory 1. It was an accident. She gets disoriented, gets stuck in the marsh, and drowns.
Which makes sense near a lake in the dark.
It does. But the counter to that is strong. Sonar and professional divers thoroughly searched the lake and the coastline almost immediately.
And they found absolutely nothing, right?
Nothing. Given the equipment used, they would have found a body in that water.
Okay, so theory 2. A stranger attack. Someone was lurking in the woods and grabbed her.
Again, possible. But we have to look at the acoustics.
Right, the 2 fishermen.
Yeah. There were fishermen nearby on the lake. Flat water acts like a giant acoustic mirror at night. Sound travels beautifully.
And they definitively stated they heard absolutely 0 screams, no breaking branches, no sounds of a struggle.
Nothing. So grabbing a grown woman without making a single sound in a pitch-black forest, highly unlikely.
Which leads to theory 3, and this was the police's favored theory for a long time. Voluntary escape.
That she just walked away to start a new life?
And to be fair, her daughters, Patricia and Claudia, did admit their mother seemed really sad and depressed in the days prior.
Plus, there was that tip. 2 unconfirmed witnesses claimed they saw a woman matching Wanda's exact description around 5 a.m.
Right, near the mouth of the Nyskie River.
But again, look at the counter-evidence.
Yeah.
She was in suede fashion boots, navigating muddy riverbanks for hours in those.
Not going to happen. Plus, there was absolutely no money trail, no bank activity in 15 years.
Her daughters fiercely maintained she loved them way too much to ever abandon them, especially the younger one.
Right. So that brings us to the 4th theory, the most sinister one.
Murder by the group.
Yeah. Fueled by those massive timeline gaps, the sleeping kids, the missing bag, and the small town of Kamieniec, where they lived, they absolutely lashed onto this theory.
The social fallout was intense.
It was a literal lynch mob. Wanda's husband, Jacek, received silent phone calls, people pointed at him in the streets, and he was even physically beaten by locals.
It's the psychology of a frightened community. They need a villain to make sense of the tragedy.
But the aftermath of that is what I can't shake. Because within a few years, Jacek and the other two couples from the fire all emigrated to Germany.
Yes, they all left Poland entirely.
And they completely severed contact with each other. They won't speak to the media, and they don't speak to the daughters.
Which looks incredibly suspicious.
I mean, it looks exactly like a pact of silence. You pack up, flee the country, and never speak to the only other witnesses again. That screams guilt.
It definitely fits the profile of escaping justice. But if we look at the psychology of compounded trauma, there's another angle.
Okay, what's the other angle?
Imagine they are entirely innocent. They lose a friend in a traumatic event. Then, instead of support, the entire town turns on them.
The physical beatings.
Right. The social witch hunt forces innocent people to flee just to survive. And severing ties might just be a desperate attempt to erase the most painful chapter of their lives. Seeing each other only brings back the trauma.
So the silence could be a guilty conscience, or it could just be the shared trauma of being persecuted.
Exactly. It's a behavioral clue that perfectly fits both narratives.
Wow. That's a really frustrating echo chamber, and you can imagine the desperation it caused for the daughters.
They even turned to clairvoyance, didn't they?
They did. When the police hit a wall, they went to psychics. The famous one, Krzysztof Jakowski, claimed the body was in the reeds near the camp.
And another claimed 2 men assaulted her and threw her down an old, 15 kilometers away.
But none of these leads panned out. They were all dead ends.
It's a natural mechanism of grief, but it just adds false hope to the family's emotional roller coaster.
Which brings us to where we are now, the human toll. Because as these theories just spin in circles, Patricia and Claudia refuse to let the silence of Nyskie Lake be the final word.
They are so relentless, even 15 years later.
Yeah, they've literally rented boats themselves to scour the abandoned islands on the lake.
And they've continually demanded access to the police records to see if anything was missed.
Which they were denied, right?
Unfortunately, yes. Because it legally remains an active search rather than a closed murder investigation, the police won't release the files to protect the case integrity.
That is just heartbreaking administrative red tape for a grieving family.
It really is.
But before we wrap this up, there is one final, really provocative thought drawn from the forensic case study that we haven't touched on yet.
Yes, the search methods themselves.
Because we know the lake was searched with sonar and divers.
But the dense, root-filled forest floor, that was never subjected to large-scale ground-penetrating radar in those crucial early days.
Wait, really? So they looked under the water, but not under the dirt?
Exactly. Ground-penetrating radar finds disturbed earth, but because the focus was on the lake, the vast, dark woods were basically treated as just a surface-level search area.
Oh, wow. So if she isn't in the water and she didn't walk away.
That forest offers thousands of places where a shallow grave could be dug in just minutes, especially by security professionals.
That is terrifying.
And there's an environmental factor, too. The nearby Nyskie River floods regularly.
Oh, I see where you're going.
Yeah, it deposits layers of mud and sediment year after year.
So the landscape is literally burying the evidence.
The earth is constantly shifting, laying down new blankets of soil, effectively covering its own tracks.
Now, it leaves you wondering, is the truth safely hidden away in Germany behind a pact of silence?
Or is it buried just a few steps away from where that campfire burned, getting deeper and deeper every year?
That's an image that's going to stick with me. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
We hope this really highlights the incredible complexities of these kinds of investigations.
Yeah, and encourages you to keep questioning the world around you.
Always look for the why and the how behind the what.
Keep digging, keep listening, and keep your flashlight close when you step away from the fire. See you next time.